If you're charged with a first offense DWI in New Hampshire, there are a few things you need to know. My name's Tony Nero. I'm a criminal defense attorney in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I practice in every county in the state. Now, the first thing you need to know about a DWI first offense is that it's a Class B misdemeanor. What's a Class B misdemeanor? It's a misdemeanor where it's a crime, but you can only be punished by up to a $1,200 fine plus a 24% penalty assessment and potentially have a loss of license, such as in a DWI case. So you can't go to jail if you're charged with a DWI first offense. So if you've been charged with a DWI first offense in New Hampshire and you're afraid you're going to go to jail, stop being afraid. That's good news. The bad news is that means you don't get a public defender. You either have to defend yourself or hire a private attorney. And I don't recommend that you represent yourself. For a host of reasons, you can watch my last video on that issue, but DWIs in particular are complicated cases. There are standardized field sobriety tests that officers will administer on suspects. There are non-standardized field sobriety tests. There is the breath test. There is search and seizure law. So first of all, did the cop have a right to stop you in the first place? So there's a host of issues that can come up in a DWI case that you really need a lawyer for. The other reason you want a lawyer for a first offense DWI is because if you're convicted, yet you can't go to jail, but you could lose your license. You will lose your license. It's mandatory, but you can lose it for a substantial period of time. You could also be subjected to administrative license loss, depending on whether or not you took a chemical test and if you did, what the results were. You're going to be subjected to expensive car insurance going forward. There are a host of consequences, and you're going to have a criminal record. A criminal record without a lawyer, that's not the way to go, folks. Plus, if you're convicted of driving while your license is suspended because of the DWI, it's a mandatory jail sentence, another year loss of license, and other consequences that you just don't want to suffer. And most importantly, if you're convicted of a second offense DWI in 10 years in New Hampshire, or let's say you're in Massachusetts and it's 20 years later and they have no look back period, you're going to be looking at severe consequences. In New Hampshire, a second offense within 10 years subjects you to mandatory jail time. Mandatory 3 years license loss, more treatment ordered by the court, an alcohol ignition interlock device. It will follow you seemingly forever. So if you're charged with a first offense DWI, you won't go to jail, but you also won't get a public defender. So hire a competent and experienced attorney to help you through that process. Tony Nero, New Hampshire Criminal Defense.